Hello there, welcome back. Thanks for being here. So, in our last learning, we have seen how to create an issue in Jira. So, we have seen all three ways of sending a request body when we are actually creating a bug. So, in this video, let's learn something new, and this is an exclusive feature to Karate. So, the function that I'm going to show you is reusability of a feature file. So thus far we have worked with different BDD frameworks such as Cucumber, Gauge, and any other thing. So we have been writing feature files, but never we were able to use the response or the output from one feature file to another feature file. So the process of chaining was very difficult, but Karate has done this for us as an out-of-box functionality. So with the help of call read function, you can actually call one feature file and use the response and then feed it to your next test case. So this is how we see in general. So when you are working with API test case, so chaining is one of the most common process. Say for example, if at all the requirement is that you need to create a record and then verify the record has been created by doing a get call. So you will create a record using post call, and then you will query it for the information using get call. And if at all you wanted to update the record which you have created, so then you are pretty much relying on the create record scenario. So that is how you actually connect one scenario and another scenario. The process is called chaining, or can be a kind of orchestration as well, because you are actually managing the sequence of events, if I were to talk more technically. So let's discuss how Karate call read function works. So before that, let's get into the documentation part of Jira. So how update call works and all. So you have something called edit issue. So this is the endpoint they are actually expecting us to invoke, and the HTTP method that we should be applying is put. So rest slash API slash 2 is the version, issue slash the ID which you are actually trying to update. So in this particular test case, so I wanted to update the record which is going to created by me. So I would reuse the feature file which I have written for create a record, and then I would use the ID in this particular update record so that the record gets updated, and we will see how that goes on, and we'll also verify it. So let's get through the documentation. So they are actually expecting us the path parameter which is an issue ID, and if you come down little below, so the fields, it is the same. So whatever the response body that you have used while creating the record can also be used, but we will change the field, the values inside. Say for example, if I wanted to have description something else than what it was there, so let me update that so that we can better understand, okay, the record has been already been updated. So that is the request body, because even when you are updating a record also, it is a partial update, so you need to give the request body. And put is a method that you should be using when you are updating a record, and these are the body fields, like how your body should look like and which block. It is optional, it is not mandatory that every field that you have here should be there in the request. So whatever is convenient for you, you can have it the same fashion. But since I've already had a basic sample message for creating a record, same I would be using here too. And now if you look at the response, it is very strange. So they are not actually returning any response, and the status code that they would be returning is 204. So 204, so which means no content. So they are not actually going to give us the response saying that this has successfully done and all. And they have some other error codes as well, so you can just go through, see what are the possible scenarios that you can encounter 400 response, like if something is missing, and when do you get 401 and when do you get 403. So it is just all about how you read through the document and understand. Okay, so let's quickly get into the test case. So this is the create bug feature that we have worked prior to this learning. So in this particular video, so I would be creating a particular feature file now, and then I will name it as a update bug. So let me create that. So update bug dot feature is my feature file name. So I would be copying the related information, so feature background and all that I would be using. So let me copy it here. So feature, this is different, so I would say to update issues in Jira project, and URL is the same, and I wanted to read the message that we already have, and the authorization is pretty much required. So, and next thing is you should be passing the ID of it. So let me get the ID of it. Say for example, we need to pass some key values. We pass the defect ID. Say for example, I wanted to update the issue record, which is 10022, so I should be passing it here. So I have hard coded it now, so but let us read it from the previous feature file. So I would be doing that in some time. So let us complete the scenario documentation part. So and request, so we have body here because the request has already been read from the input JSON, so request body. And now then sorry, it is when. So when we do, what method we should be applying. So put, when the method is put, then status is 204. So I'm not interested in response at all, so you can write as well. It will not make any sense because they are not really going to return us any response on, because they are returning us the status code, which is 204. Yeah, so we are all set now. So let us just run this to see how this particular execution goes. Let me right click and run and see Cucumber feature, and it has triggered, started running, and you have noticed that test case got passed. So you can see that the code has been verified 204, and let me check whether the bug 10022 has already been updated with the message that is there in the input. So this is the input.json, so description should be updated. Let me just quickly go to my Jira board and just refresh the page. Let me just come scroll down and see 1022 is this record, I guess. Yep, there you go. So you have actually noticed this got updated, but this is not a standard practice, as I was mentioning. So this if you work this way, you will have to write a lot of code, and the maintenance would be high. So when you get into regression execution, or when you get into system test execution, or any other whole execution, so you would have to spend a lot of time. So how do we make this file more generic? So let's call the another feature file. So what I'm planning to do right now is, so I have already created the create bug feature. So I would run this scenario first. I would just call this particular feature file. Whatever the bug that is created, I would update that. I would take that record and I would update. So that is how I chain. So there is a function called call read. So let me just create a variable with the help of def keyword, and I would say this as what to say, get ID, because we are interested in getting the ID of a particular record. So get ID, and then the call and read are both are two different functions. So rather I can apply one function at a time, and you can apply two at a time. So read is just about reading, and call is something which you are actually invoking the scenario. So if you ask me a question, when do you apply read and when do you apply a call? So I would say read is beneficial when you are working with some data files. Say for example, you have some .xml data or .json data or some CSV file. So if you are only reading some test data to put in some validations or use the message for your body and all that, so better you can use read. But if at all you are working with a feature file, so call function is very mandatory. So let me just call the feature file, because I am on the same directory. I need not go to any parent directory. I would just name this create bug dot feature. I can simply call this one. So So understand guys, so I'm just calling this call and read function both together. So rather you can have it in two steps: def get id call of something, and then get def something else, then read of something. So you can first read and then call. Okay, so both should work. And now we have called the feature file. So but the feature file has whole response. Like if you look at the create bug response, it has given us some fields like what is the summary, what is the description, what is the key value for a record, what is the description of it. But what we are really interested in here is the id value, because based on the id only we are going to update the subsequent record. So I'm going to create another variable with the help of def keyword, and I would say id equals to, so get id is the variable, and I'm on top of it I am applying the response dot id. Yeah, so now what happens is that, so get id is the variable, so the output of this feature file execution would be storing into this get id. So in the get id, so I'm just applying the response dot id, because in the response id is one of the field that is present. It is not present in the inner JSON. I'm just actually navigating it to the id and I'm storing it in the id. So now what I do, I'll remove the hard coded message here. I will concatenate with id variable. So simple as that. So now our job is done. So what we have done, we have called the create feature file which we have created some time ago with the help of call read function, and we have stored response.id in another variable called id, and we have called that and given it to the path parameter, and we have all set here, and I think we are good to run. So now let's right click and see what happens. Cucumber feature file, and it has executed, and let's see what happens with it. So let me just maximize the console. Yeah, you can see it got passed, and you can see the response, nothing got printed. It is blank because the documentation says that we are not going to return anything. And you can also see that the status code is 204. And let's see what is the endpoint. So if you actually look into the entire output, this is how it looks like. So initially the first thing got executed. So first the post call got executed, because we need to create a record and then the update the record that has been created. So first that post method got executed and one record would have formed, and we will be fetching the id from that record and applying here. So if you actually look in here, and you will see the record that is just created. Let me scroll down here. Yeah, so if you look at this thing, so this is the path of that record. So 10027 is the id that got created when the create scenario has been run. So the same id is given to this particular endpoint. So you can actually see from the response of this, we have only grabbed the id, and which has been appended to the path parameter of the update test case, and we have hit the endpoint, and we have successfully updated the record as well. So since we're not receiving any response, let's just go and see whether the 10027 has been updated or not. So let me refresh my Jira board, and once it refreshes, let me come down, and this is the record that has been created, and you can see it is the update. So which it has been created and it has been updated too. So this is how you actually chain it. And now the another thing that we can also do is that, so after updating, the requirement might be that you need to delete a record. So that can be done as well, because we have captured this reading of a file and storing of a id in the background section. So you can write another scenario, because under one particular feature you can have n number of scenario, and the content that you have in the background is applicable across all scenarios. So what you can do, just go through the delete documentation and see what endpoint, what is the path parameter for it, and what is the method, and just see whether that record got vanished or not. So let's just quickly go through the delete as well by creating another scenario, because it is not going to take much long. So I would be creating another scenario. This is where this is to delete the issue. So this is my scenario, and the header path request, we don't really have to bother about request at all because we are just deleting it. I'm giving the header, and then what I need is that when method would be delete, and then let's go through the documentation part and see how they support the delete request. So if I go to delete issue, so this is how I think the endpoint, the path parameter is also same, so they are just expecting us to get the issue ID, and the method that you are trying to invoke is delete. And let's see what they return, and so they're not actually returning anything, so they are just creating 204 as the status code. So let me just put down the same assertion, so 204, and that's it guys. Now what should ideally happen? First a record should get generated, and then that should get updated, and finally the record that is created should be deleted. So which means some record will get generated, but ultimately when we go and check in our Jira board, that should not be present. So let's actually close this since we have some error, so it will get updated, and I'm saving this file. And even if the authorization header is also moved to this particular given background section, I don't really need to have it in every scenario that I write. So let me eliminate this one. So that is how we optimize the code. So that is how we make the feature files more readable. So now we have set authorization or authorization header as well in the body section. So let us just quickly run this one to see. So now we should have three things done automatically on its own. First a record should get created, and then the same should get updated, and then it should get it. So we have seen couple of scenarios have run, and then one got failed. So the reason is no method match for status 204. So this is completely my mistake guys. If you have seen, then status is 204, it is a spelling mistake. So because the status is one of the keywords that is coming from Karate, so without a proper keyword they cannot actually map my goal to the proper step definition. So Karate will have hard time. So other than that there is nothing that we have done wrong. So let me just right click and run again to see the proper execution of test case and see all three get passed. And now you can see that both of them got passed. And then when I expand this response, and let's see what is the endpoint that is invoked and what record got created and what was deleted. So if I just scroll above, first create a record would have been executed, and let me see what is the response of it and what is the ID of it, and from there we would have got the response. So 10030 is the bug that was created, and the same bug was updated using the put method. So we have just passed on, and now even when for the deletion test case, you can see that same endpoint would have been triggered. So we have got nothing for print. So now the record got updated too. So let's come down. Yeah, see guys, now this is the delete call. So we are actually doing it here. I'm sorry, this is the delete call. We are actually doing it here. So now let's just go and see what has happened here. Just refresh the page, and we should not be seeing that record at all. So let me just come down. See guys, the record that 30th record is not present. We have 31st record. So after MYP 29, MYP 30 is missing. So which means the record got successfully deleted. So this is how the chaining process is done, and how you can reuse the output of one feature file to another feature file. So one more important point that I should be updating is that, so you should use the ignore tag if you don't want to execute this scenario every now and then, or else what will happen is that this particular scenario also would be executed. That is the reason, however, 3 scenarios have run. In the console you can see only 2 got updated. So if at all I have seen this @ignore tag away, so this should have not happened. So that's it for this video, guys. I think we have had too much of learning, but this is very important and key feature, and one of the feature that every API automation engineer loves, because they have a powerful chaining mechanism and reusability of feature files. So I hope you have learned something great here and you have been enjoying my learnings. So thank you so much for listening me throughout the session, and you have a great rest of today.